The Russian offensive continues every day along the entire front line. Assaults by Russian infantry using armored vehicles seem endless. Despite the heavy losses, the Russians regularly replenish the ranks of their infantry with new mobilization forces, which allows them to repeat 5 attempts to storm Ukrainian positions every day. The Ukrainian military is constantly having to adapt to new attacks and improve its tactics. In this video, I'm going to show you some recent battles filmed by the Ukrainian military. I'm Hustler. Let's get started. Donetsk region. An attempt was made to break through the Ukrainian military positions. Russian servicemen on an armored personnel carrier hit a mine, but continued to move. Ukrainian artillery began to fire at them, but all the shells fell short. The Russian infantrymen were able to land. Another armored vehicle, an MTLB, was stopped by an anti-tank mine. Kamikaze drone flies to neutralize Russian soldiers and armored vehicles. Russian infantrymen had already managed to take some positions in the forest landing, but then a Ukrainian drone bomber with a thermal imager flew to them. Russians bring in another armored vehicle, but it is immediately attacked by a kamikaze drone. Infantry are also attacked by other drones and artillery with cluster munitions. Two surviving Russian occupiers bring a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone to their hideout. The Vampire drone arrives and makes the last bomb drop for the Russian occupiers. Here, Ukrainian tankers are on their way to carry out their mission. They received information that Russian soldiers were hiding in the houses. 2 T-64 tanks enter the village and start shelling all the buildings. And after the successful clearing of the village, the tanks quickly retreated to their positions to avoid enemy artillery fire. And this is New Year's night for the Ukrainian drones operators of the Azov Brigade. For civilians it is a holiday, but for the military it is just another day of fighting for their freedom. A Vampire hexacopter was prepared for the night hunt for Russian invaders. Ukrainian soldiers wrote New Year's greetings to Russians and then attached an anti-tank mine to a hexacopter. The drone was brought to combat readiness and launched into the sky. This is where the nighttime search for a good target began. The building from which the Russians made their temporary hub was discovered. The drone operator dropped the mine directly on the target. After completing the mission, the servicemen landed the drone and went to retrieve it at their shelter, but at that moment, the Russians began shelling with Grad artillery systems. Fortunately, everything went well. None of the soldiers were injured. Here, Ukrainian drone pilots have destroyed a large number of Russian heavy armored vehicles using only kamikaze drones. Now we can see 2 abandoned infantry fighting vehicle and 1 T-62 tank. Probably, the Russians got lost and ran out of fuel, but there are also cases when Russians refuse to storm Ukrainian positions and leave their armored vehicles in the middle of the field to save their lives. It doesn't matter what made the Russians leave the armored vehicles here. In any case, it must be destroyed so that they do not return and reuse them. Targets were successfully destroyed. But another T-62 tank appeared on the approach, already on the move with a crew. The tank's armor withstood the first drone hit, but after the second hit, the tank caught fire. Then another T-62 tank was attacked and also destroyed. And this is the armored personnel carrier that the Russian infantry left behind after the drone attack. Another Russian tank destroyed by 2 FPV drones. For this tank, only 1 drone was enough to destroy it completely. That's all for today, friends. Subscribe to the channel to don't miss the latest news. This video was prepared by Hustler. See you soon.